Hey y'all, LeAnn Aker here of Aker-Fit Nutrition, Fitness, and Life. And I'm coming at you this morning very early before I go to work. And not near as early as I get up. I'm almost ready to walk out the door today. So, anyway, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my last blog was on recovering from burnout, right? Nursing burnout. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the suggestions I made to deal with the symptoms. And the five symptoms we talked about are irritability, frequently calling in sick, intolerance to change, exhaustion, and checked out mentally. And what the suggestions I made are actually developing better habits, right? So, how, or not better habits, effective habits, okay, to deal with these things that are a part of our mindset. Those, five things that we named um, are part of our mindset, which our mindset is not necessarily, we think about mindset as sitting down and meditating and that kind of stuff. But mindset is actually with us all the time, and it's a set of behaviors and attitudes that drive us. Okay, so how can our attitudes and behaviors better drive us to a way of life that we want to live instead of with the irritability and the checking out mentally and those kinds of things, right? So, in order to talk about habits, I wanted to introduce you to a worksheet that I developed called the Four Cornerstone Habits, and it's available to you down below. You just click on that. I'm just going to talk about that a little bit. You can either click on it now and follow along, or the only thing I'm going to talk about today is mindset, the first one on there. Um, you know, all four of those things work together. I think of habits as the cement of gluing those things together, of your foundation for life. So um, we tend to, when we want to change a habit or develop more effective habits in our lives, we tend to think that that's the only thing that we're working on and that's the only thing we're doing. But we're actually working on all four of these at the same time. That's why I think of your habits as the cement, because we're some of different parts, right? We're some of our mind, our body, and our heart or our soul, right? So those are the three things that make us up. It's not just our mind. It's not just our bodies or the nutrition that we're working on to live a better life, right? Our nutrition and our movement and mindset, the ways that we think, that kind of thing. So it sounds kind of complicated when you look at it that way, right? So it's easier to look at it as, one small change at a time builds up to a huge change or your foundation for life, right? So that's the way we're going to look at it today is one small change at a time. Okay? So let's take our mindset, for instance. It's the first thing on the worksheet. And like I said, it's our attitudes and our behaviors. And let's use that, let's develop a more effective habit to deal with one of the symptoms of burnout. Okay? So I really like this one, this checked out mentally. Okay? So, how do we develop another habit to not be so checked out mentally? So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is what a habit is. And we all have them, whether they're effective or ineffective or just neutral habits, right? We brush our teeth every day, we fix a meal, that kind of stuff. Those are neutral habits, the things that we do, the ways that we think, and the ways that we act out, like being checked out mentally. That's a habit, okay? That behavior of being checked out mentally is a habit. And we have developed this habit, and it's triggered by something. And what I believe that being checked out mentally is triggered by is it's triggered by stress. And that's the reason why we do it in relation to our job or being burned out in our job, right? So it's been developed over time because of the chronic stress of our jobs. And it's a coping mechanism. It's simply a coping mechanism. We don't like the situation we're in, so we check out mentally. Is it an effective coping mechanism? It is for a certain amount of time, but if it's gotten to the point where you're not even leading your life, you're struggling with this coping mechanism has become a major distraction in your life, right? And I know for a lot of us, that has happened, in my life as well sometimes, and so it's become an ineffective coping mechanism, right? Because you can't even be present for the things that you really want to be present for. So our brain uses habits as a way to kind of cut down on the thinking processes. Our brain loves to think. But it's got to organize these things in a certain amount. It has to organize these things so that Google says that that our brains. I love this picture. There's a picture on my website about all these lights and thoughts and everything going through our brains, and that's kind of the way it happens, right? Like I Google says 20 to 40,000 thoughts go through our brains in a day, right? So that is a lot of thinking. So your brain has to organize it some way. So it organizes it in habit loops. So it's stored in your brain in loops. And that loop has three parts. There's a trigger, a routine, and a reward, right? So your brain senses when you do something over and over and over again. It says, okay, so we'll take the checking out mentally, right? So a stressor happens, and then your brain says, okay, this is when we check out. She's going to check out, so I'm just going to do that, right? And they just do it, and your brain just does it, right? And you just do it. You just check out. You just totally check out when that stressor hits you. Too much work. People are, you're being caught between doctors and families and all that kind of thing. So you just kind of check out. You just go somewhere else, and you pick up a distraction like your phone or something like that. And then the reward is you get this little bing of adrenaline because you just checked out for a second or so and you took care of something. So then, hey, Darlene, what's going on? So then you just check out, right? And so what can you develop? What can you do in order to change that ineffective habit, right? So, what I talked about in the blog that I discussed, the way to do that, I tell you what, I'm not going to talk trash about our phones or social media or anything like that because they're all great tools, right? But we tend to walk through our lives because of this wanting to check out and dealing with stress in this manner. We tend to use the things that are most convenient to us. And our phones and social media and connection in that way are actually, very convenient to us, and we can use those. But what happens is we have become addicted to those. And this habit becomes something that constantly goes on in our brains. And it's not effective because we're not living our lives in a way that we want to live our lives. We're completely checking out constantly. So therefore, we're not paying attention to what's going on in front of us. And it's sad because we're missing our lives. We're missing connections with people. We're missing connections with the people in front of us. We're missing, you know, I come to work when I come to work every single morning, right? So the answer to this is to just be in the moment. The answer to this is to be in the moment instead of being on your phone or checking out instead of checking out. So the way you change a habit is you change the routine, right? The trigger is the same. The trigger is the same. It's a stressor, whatever it is that is causing you to check out. When you check out, then you pull out your phone out of your pocket, or you walk away, or something like that. But most of the time, I've noticed, for myself especially, it's my phone because it's so convenient. So for me, I just started. So this is what happens, right? I decided that I was going to change my habit of checking out mentally by being in the moment, by concentrating on being in the moment. So when I feel like checking out mentally, that stress hits me, that habit loop gets in force, right? So instead of being triggered by that, I'm going to be in the moment. So this is how it works for me. I I walk, there's kind of a long walk for most of us, I think, that work in hospitals, right? You park in the employee parking lot and then you walk in. I'm in the southeast right now. I'm in Georgia. That's where I work, and I people speak to each other all the time. I'm from the southeast, and so it really like lights me up in the morning to walk in, and you know be in the moment and speak to people and look up and that kind of thing. But you know what happens? And I had never even noticed this until I started being in the moment myself, right? So I may pass 20, 30 people. It's shift change time, and I may pass, 20, 30 people as I'm going into work and other people are coming out and that kind of thing. It's kind of a long walk. You go down this almost, I'd say at least 60%, 60 to 70% of those people are on their phones. They're either talking with headphones or they've got their heads down and they're texting or whatever it is as they're walking. And I didn't even notice that. So today, for your intention, when you're walking around, set an intention in the morning to be more in the moment, okay? That's your first habit that you will do in order to get out of this habit of being checked out mentally, okay? Be in the moment. If so, this is how you're going to change that habit. Instead of when you want to check out, so you get a stressor or whatever, you just think about being on your phone. Being on your phone is checking out to the situation in front of you, right? Because you're doing something else when you pull your phone out of your pocket. So um, instead of pulling your phone out of your pocket, leave your phone in your pocket. You're going to change the routine. So the stressor is you want to check out, okay? You want to look and see what's on your phone. That's what, instead of being in the moment. So be in the moment. So this is the new habit, is to be in the moment. So you want to check out. So you pull your phone out of your pocket. That's the routine. Instead of that, put your phone back in your pocket, look up and speak to people. Look at what kind of day it is. Be, you know, is it cloudy? Is it cold? Is it raining? It's been raining in Georgia a lot lately. Is it raining? I've been out all day already this morning, and it looks like it's going to be a nice, clear, sunny day. I hope it is. I didn't look at the weather, so I'm not sure. But anyway, look at the weather. Look at the people around you. Speak to them. Keep your eyes up. And then when you intend, what's your reward? What is your reward? For me, the reward is I just get a lot of smiles when I do that. I give people smile back at me, and I'm in a better mood when I clock in, right? So that's what happens to me. That's the difference because I do this myself. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that you don't do yourself. So, that I don't do myself. Sorry about that. But I do this myself, and it puts me in a better mood, and I'm in a great mood by the time I clock in, right? So do that today. So that's the new habit that you're going to work on today, okay? Being in the moment and stop checking out, going to your phone, check social media, whatever it is. Pay attention to the people around you today and pay attention to the weather and everything in your life today. It'll make you smile, trust me. And when you smile, other people smile. Because right now, I'm smiling my head off because I got to talk to you first thing this morning. All right, I'm going to work. Talk to you later. Bye.